happening? Alan, you're here. Eric's here. So we've got this side happening, but I don't know what you guys are doing over there. Are you guys scaring your friends away so they won't come to class? All right. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about purchasing because some of the stuff is going wrong in purchasing. It's stuff that we're just not quite thinking yet. And so we're going to talk about some stuff, and I'm going to show you some stuff. So what we need to do, unless you happen to have to register at 2 p.m., I need you guys to pay attention to me. Because what we do, because I'm not real strict on this stuff, is you guys kind of just do what you want to do, even while I'm talking. And then I have to spend 7 or 8 hours during the course of the week answering your emails because you didn't want to listen to me for 15 minutes. Well, it's not just you, my friend. We have a lot of us that for this 15, 20 minutes, we don't want to listen, but then we're like, oh man, I have no idea what she said to do. So I'm going to ask everyone to pay attention. We're not watching the Masters right now, so if you've got that down, I think what we should do is monitors down, eyes up, because you can't help it if your monitor's there. I know it. You don't have to shut it all the way, but where you're not looking at it. I want to see your eyes. You got the Masters on, don't you? You can miss a hole. Put it down. Yeah, if you got the Masters on, I want it shut. I've got my own golfers, so I'm interested as well, but we'll all catch up in 20 minutes once we're where we need to be. All right. We all good to go. Let's pay attention so that we don't mess this up again. All right, so here we go. Materials management's done. Complete. 15.74 out of 20 average. You guys make me cry a little bit. I want this to be like 19.89. I want it to be super high. So we're going to talk this through and make sure that we get everybody up to a 20. We want 20 out of 20 for production. All right? Are we all in agreement? 20 out of 20 average on production. A week from today, 20 out of 20. All right, so things that I'm noticing as for some of you who are in here working, we're doing a lot of pointing and clicking and not thinking at all about what's happening behind the scenes, why we're doing what we're doing. And the problem is that's going to happen is, yeah, you're going to get this project done and you're going to get your 100 points for it, but guess what? There's 100 points on a final exam in a month that we have to take. And so we don't want to get in the weeds with learning about what SAP does. And so we're going to start now, and I'm going to show you some things that I want you to be thinking about. First, we're going to talk about some navigation stuff that we're struggling with a little bit. And so if I can get you so where you can navigate a little bit better, you're going to do a better job of being able to find your own mistakes or capture your own mistakes and unravel it. All right, so how do you get back to your stuff? So you want to see if your vendor's correct. You want to see if your materials records are correct. So this is the same menu path. So we've got vendor, central, and then you guys hit create, right, to make your own. Well, use your eyes and look down a little bit more, and we've got other choices. So we've got change. So what do you think we would use that for? If we wanted to change it, exactly right. If you just wanted to see what you had, you can go to display. I almost always, if I feel like there might be an issue that I want to look at, I almost always go to change because I don't have to change anything. I can just look at it. But if I go to display and realize I need to change something, then I have to exit out and go back to change. Does that make sense? All right, and vendor data, master data, you can edit at any point. And we're going to, with a caveat, but I'm going to tell you what that is in a minute, except for prices. So if you enter in an incorrect price, I have to fix it for you because think about what that means from a control standpoint. We don't want one person who can create a vendor or create a material to go in and be able to manipulate prices, right? That's a control issue. So once a price is in, if it's going to be changed, it needs an additional layer of permissions to be able to do that. If you need to check your material, you're going to go material, create special, or change. Some people are getting creative and trying to fix their stuff, and they're flagging for deletion. What happens when you flag for deletion is you're still going to be able to use it, and then when you try to do a purchase requisition or a purchase order with it, it's going to say this item's been flagged for deletion. So there's no point in doing that. So we're not going to go back and just repeat exercises. We're going to fix any mistakes that we've made before we move on. So this isn't one of those things where you can say, oh, I know I messed up on exercise 2, but let me just get through what I can get through, and then maybe I'll go back and fix it. That's not how this works. All right, so that's how you change your master data. If you want to look at your documents, sometimes they can be a little bit trickier. So logistics, so we've got purchase requisition, look, create, change, display, easy peasy. Same with purchase order, change display. This is goods receipt. So anytime you're moving inventory around, it's going to be in a material document. And so change display. And then we've got, when we're looking at our invoice, that one's a little trickier because it's not in the main entry where you put stuff. So this says document entry, enter part. We have to go to further processing so that we can display. Now, with the invoice document, if you know the number, it's really easy. You'll click on this, and then it's going to be a box for you to enter the invoice document. Where would that invoice document be found? If you've printed and brought, like I asked you to, you should have written it down. And then you just type it in. If you didn't, because you're a rebel that way, and you've got to find it, you can't go here to enter invoice. You have to go down here to display list of invoice documents, enter some search criteria, find your document number, and then go back up here. Does that make sense? So you just kind of have to look a little bit around to find change or display if you need to find your documents. When we're looking for searching, we need to find, we have a bunch of search tabs, and I'm going to show you these. These are where I think some of us are running into some trouble. So let's see, I need to find my material. So I'm going to go to logistics, material management, material master, material. I don't know this by heart, I'm just looking. So it's kind of like, okay, so let's go to change. I know I've done something weird. All right, so now I'm here to material. I don't remember what I named it. I can't find it. And so I'm going to click on the magnifying glass. Sometimes it's the 2 papers because that's a copy. And what it's meaning is we're going to use a search to find it and then copy and paste it into this field. But here, we're just going to search for it. And so material description. If I want to use this field, I have to type it exactly the way you did it before. Exactly. So would, I'm going to use you, Alan, here. Would space kit 022 exactly, or would space kit space 022. So whatever you did. If you don't remember exactly what you did, hence why you're looking for it, you just enter a part of it and use wildcards. So let's say I know, no matter, I might have done some crazy stuff with spacing, but I know I used my number. So I'm going to do a wildcard, so it could be anything, 022. Then I'm going to do another wildcard, anything after that, because maybe I got crazy and put some spaces after it. And then I'm going to click my check mark. So now I can see all of the materials that 022 has made. So would space kit space 022, would space kit 022, but we're good, just one rocker 022, one cushion 022. And what we're caring about here is this right here, because this is the actual primary key. This is the description, so this is what shows up and stuff, but this is the actual primary key. If you find that yours doesn't have a word and it's 19 or 11, that means you didn't put the title in before you hit create. So now you're stuck with it, but you got to remember that and use it from here on out. Does everybody understand kind of how to search? There's also, if we're looking, say we did know something on this first screen. But if you click over here to this little file folder, it looks like a file, like a manila folder. If you click on that, it's going to show you all of the different search choices that we have. So these are all of the different ways that you can try to find things. So maybe we don't know what the description is, but we know what supply area we keep it in, or we know what material group it's in, or we know the vendor number. I mean, so you just look through there and find what is something I do know, or I know at least part of it, and then you go to that tab and use it for searching. Does that make sense? We okay there? All right. So that being said, also something to keep in mind with search terms. Search terms is supposed to make it easy to find. So I recommend you use your last 3 digits of your cruiser ID. So mine would be 087. Alan's would be 022. But some of you are putting interesting things like your cruiser ID. So it's a whole lot of stuff to type. Or baseball, 022. You're just providing me a lot of good teaching moments here, Alan. But what happens is you're not going to ever remember those, because it's hard to remember some things when they get more complex. So just use something you'll always remember. So that way when you're looking for stuff, you can always go right to search term and type in your search term. It makes it super easy to find. Does that make sense? So search term, just use your number from here on out. You don't have to go back and change it, but from here on out, when it asks you to create a search term, use your number. All right. Here's one thing where we're kind of missing the picture a little bit. This instance of SAP we're working in is real. It's the exact SAP that any company that uses SAP uses. The exact thing. It's not like our systems understanding aid, which we tried to pretend was real, but really it wasn't real. This is real. So we have to think about it. We have a material master, so you created wood kits and cushions. And we had vendors, so you created turn spindles and happy bottoms, right? Then you create what's called a purchasing information record that links together your vendor and your material and sets a price. Does that make sense? Everybody with me there? All right. Well, then you're going to create a purchase requisition, and then once it gets approved, you will then convert it to a purchase order. The information from your purchasing info record gets fed into your purchase order. So you remember when you click on the button that says assign source of supply? When you were doing your purchase order, it's looking back at your purchase info record and saying, okay, Happy Bottoms, that's who we're buying it from, and fills it in. Then this purchase order gets mailed away and goes away to the vendor. Whether you email it, snail mail it, fax it, whatever happens, it goes away, right? So it's gone. So this is the purchase order that we now live with. Then a while later, the goods come in. We fill out a materials document for the goods receipt. Now we've put the goods in the warehouse. At this material document, it triggers a journal entry, which we're going to talk about in a minute. This is the point now where some people realized, oh, I messed up. I don't have the right price. I don't have the right vendor. I don't have the right something. And then went back, fixed all their stuff, came back to here, and were surprised that it was still wrong. The reason is we've got to think about real life, and the document principle, I put document theory, but it's actually the document principle means that even though this is all electronic, SAP treats everything as if it was done on paper, meaning you can't change anything once it's gone to where it has to go, and there's been a subsequent action on it. So, if you have accepted the goods, once you've issued a purchase order, it's gone. You can't change it. Think about that from a control standpoint. If we send off a purchase order for 1,000 wood kits and 1,000 cushions at $15 each, even though that's not what we're supposed to do, and then realize we did it wrong, and then change it in our system to 35 and 15, we have one purchase order out there that says one thing, and supposedly another copy of that purchase order that says an entirely different thing. We can't do that. Does that make sense? So that is one of the benefits of SAP from an auditor standpoint and control standpoint is you can't make a mistake and then cover it up. You have to have someone come in and reverse and flag for deletion and run different programs. So it's not going to be you. It has to be somebody else. I mean, in our instances, it's going to let you do a lot of stuff in real life it wouldn't let you do. So you just have to be careful and don't get too creative in trying to solve your own problems. And then we're going to get an invoice in for whatever goods we got. So especially here, once you've already put the goods in the warehouse, they're not going to let you change this and then at cascading fix everything. So once something's been used, it's used. Does everybody understand that? So, however, if you've done a purchase requisition and for whatever reason you can't get it converted to the purchase order, you can fix this and then it will go forward. Does that make sense? But once this is sent, it is what it is. Does everybody understand how that works? Because remember in the Systems Understanding Aid, one of the nice things was when we realized even weeks later, we could erase and then just carry it through. You can't do that in SAP. And we like that from a professional standpoint, that we can't do that. That anything that happens, there's a trail, and everything that happens is attached to a user ID, so we know anything that's happened in the system, we know exactly who did it. And that is a great control to have. Is everybody okay here? All right, so let's talk about the journal entry. So that's something else that I just want to make sure that we're paying attention to the accounting, because we're still in this for the accounting. So when you were in your Systems Understanding Aid, when we got the goods in, what was your journal entry? We didn't do one, right? When did we finally do the journal entry? Here, once we did the three-way match. And at this point, we debited purchases and credited accounts payable, right? Well, what's different in this system? What happens here for this goods receipt? What did you debit? Inventory, and you had two different inventories that were debited, right? One inventory account for your raw materials and one inventory account for your trading goods, right? And then what was the credit? The credit was GRIR. What does GRIR stand for? Goods receipt, invoice receipt. It's a timing account difference, right? And so we put all 50,000 in here when we got the goods, because we got 15,000 worth of one set of goods, 35,000 worth the other. So we put 50,000 in the GRIR. Then later, we got the invoice. And what was this journal entry? What did we debit? We debited the GRIR for the 50,000, and then what did we credit? Accounts payable, specific to that particular vendor. All right, so I want you to be paying attention to that. So here is the accounting. So this was the entry when you received the goods. So the trading goods, so that's our cushions. And then here's our wood kits. So 15,000, 30,000. Everybody see that? Everybody okay with that? Then, so it's just this same journal entry. Then what happens is we get our invoice receipt, and there's two different views that you can look at. One's the accounting view or the entry view, and the account that it's going to put here is the vendor account. So this is the vendor number. So if you look at yours, if you had this one, it's going to be 10015, and it just numbers it from who created their vendors in what order. So we're going to have this number here. So that's my happy bottoms right here. If you look at the GL view, instead of putting the vendor number, it's going to have the account number, the GL account number, which is going to be the 3 with all the zeros and then your number at the end. So this one is looking at it from a subledger point of view. This one's looking at it from the regular general ledger point of view. Does everybody understand the difference between these two? Yeah? Okay. All right, so let's talk about production. So we're through materials management. If you're not through materials management, you have to get through materials management before you can start production. So you can't just start at production because you're not going to have any materials to use in production. This one is make sure that you follow the guidelines. I'm still going to give you, if you turn it in on time or turn it in 24 hours, I'm going to give you heads up on something that I would take points off for and give you time to fix it. That's fine with me. But you got to give me something before the deadline. This is a strict deadline. It's a deadline or bust. If you don't turn it in by midnight, 12:01 is a 0, no matter what you turn in. So you guys have got to pay attention to these deadlines. You should be done. If I don't see you in class on Tuesday, it means you've already submitted it. Because what will happen is you don't come to class and then you've got all this other stuff going on, and what happens? You forget about it. You've done it, but you haven't submitted. And so we've got to make sure we get submitted. If you struggled on your own, instead of struggling by yourself for 4 hours, guys, just come hang out with me for 1 hour on Tuesday, and I can get you through it. So I know it's especially today, man, right? My dad even asked me today, couldn't you call in sick? It's so pretty out. Nope, we got to go work in SAP in production because I don't want to have to spend 12 hours tomorrow trying to email all of you with what I can tell you all together in 1 hour. All right, so if you struggle, come to class. If this is your jam and you've got it, you just keep doing what you're doing, and we're in good shape. But if we had to have more than 3 or 4 emails, just come hang out. Let's get it done. Everybody with me? All right, so let's talk about production, because this is going to be all stuff that's weird that we haven't talked about before. And then a week from today, we're going to start sales. And so we're almost going to be halfway through with this. All right, so, conceptual DPQ. Almost forgot. Pencil and paper, because I know we read about production. No, printing just once was a DPQ. Now you're just doing it because you know you're supposed to. Oh, no. Oh, it's sad. But think of how well prepared you are. Maybe these are long answers, Alan. Maybe he needs his own paper, whole paper. All right, you ready? Number 1, what is a BOM? Not what it stands for, but what is it? What is a routing? What does MRP stand for? Eventually, you guys will figure out that maybe even if you don't read the chapter, you should look at the slides for the day. Just saying. But you should still read the chapter. right, let's go ahead and pass them in. It's all about Blake. I appreciate it. But still turn in the paper with your name on it. Yeah, because then we know whether you were not here. We just kind of use it for informational purposes at the end. No. No, because I want to know if you got a 0 because you just missed it or you got a 0 because you weren't here. I like that a lot of people like to guess. We get some good guesses in here. We like to try to see if we can. A lot of these are not that intuitive, so it's kind of hard to guess. All right, what is a bill of materials? I told you guys this last week. Let's see if we can it is the recipe. So the bill of materials and the routing together are the recipe. The bill of materials is the list of ingredients, and the routing tells you what you're supposed to do to get things done. So it's typically that's created by engineers. So what we're going to have to do is we need 1 wood kit and 1 cushion. And then our routing is going to say glue the wood kit together. Oh no, sand the wood. Step 2, glue the wood together. Step 3, attach a cushion. Yes. Yes. It is the flow of the production process. What does MRP stand for? Materials Requirement Planning. So one of the beauties of SAP from a logistics standpoint is it does the scheduling, production scheduling for you, and that's huge. So if you think about it, if we're going to be making 100 rocking chairs, we need to make sure we have 100 wood kits, we need to make sure we have 100 cushions, and then we also need to make sure that we have the room for people to glue the wood together and sand it and attach the cushions. Does that make sense? So that's where kind of SAP really became popular because of its logistics ability. All right, so when we're talking about production from an accounting standpoint, we've got the basic things. So those of you who are in cost are really going to understand this. So what are the things that go into making a product? So what are the costs that we have to consider? The direct materials, direct labor, and overhead, manufacturing overhead. So what are the types of things? So for those of us who are not in cost right now, let's think about what manufacturing overhead is. So direct materials and direct labor are the things that you can see are going into a product. So for the purposes of this particular example, we would know we have a wood kit, we know we have a cushion, and we know we have a person gluing together the wood and attaching the cushion, so we know how long it takes them, so we can accurately calculate the specific amount of direct labor and the specific amount of direct materials. Does that make sense? But then there's all kinds of other stuff that goes into production, like rent on the factory, the glue to glue the wood kit together, the supervisor that supervises the people gluing the wood kits together, any electricity for the factory, any rent on the factory, kind of any other costs that deal with production that you can't really directly trace to an individual product. Does that make sense? But we still want it to be part of the product cost, because if not, if we only consider the raw materials and the direct labor, what's going to happen when we try to set prices? We're probably going to underprice it because we're going to forget, well, someone's got to pay for the factory. Someone's got to pay for the glue. Someone's got to pay for the supervisors. We've got to pay for all of that, and we've got to cover it. And so that's why we have inventory. Overhead. All right, so you can either do it by job or by process. So job order costing means we have big things that are really easy to separate from each other. So a construction company will do job order costing because it's really easy to tell which supplies went to which house or which building. So it's easy to say, okay, we're sending this framing material to house A, this framing material to house B. It's very easy to tell. When we're doing large batches of products that are pretty much the same, we're just going to dump it all into a pot. Then at the end, count how many we have and spread the cost evenly across. So that's what we're going to do when we make our rocking chairs. Does that make sense? I feel like we're still watching golf back there in the back. Are we watching golf? Or what are we watching back there? He is one of my golfers, but come on, friends, we got to do this and golf later. You should have DVR'd this and then you could watch it later. All right, so either method, we have to use raw materials, direct labor, and overhead. And so this is what we just talked about. So the overhead, you can apply it in a variety of ways. What we're going to do in this particular product, let's see if any of you kind of remember. What did we set up in those setup exercises? What did we set up as our cost driver? What was it? Labor hours. That's exactly right. We set up labor hours. So however long it takes us to make our product, we're then going to use those labor hours as a method for applying overhead. You can also, what we're going to find when we get to the cost, we're going to spread rent across all of the various cost centers using square feet. So just to kind of make sure we understand the basic flow, we're going to have raw materials. So you already see how that is right now. We have one account for trading goods and we have one account for wood kits. Today, when we start production, what we're going to do is we're going to make 300 rocking chairs. So we're going to issue 300 of each into work in process. So then when we're going to look at your inventory accounts, you're going to have one account that has the cost for 700 items, and then 300 items worth are going to be in work in process. When we're done with the work in process and we go to move it from work in process to finished goods, we're going to apply the labor and the overhead based on the standard cost that you set up in your routing. And then we're going to set it all to finished goods. So then this will be inventory that we can sell next week. Yes, sir. Yep. Yes. 300 from each. Yep. Cushions and wood kits. All right. So some new terms. MRP, Materials Requirement Planning. So what that basically means, if we're going to make 100 rockers, we need to make sure we have 100 wood kits and 100 cushions ready to issue to the floor. If someone says we need to make 300 and we only have 200 of each, then what's going to happen is we're going to have to do a purchase order to get the extra materials. All right, bill of materials. This is the recipe of the finished good. So for us, it's going to be to make one rocker, we need one wood kit and one cushion. Then we're going to have our routing. So the routing is what we have to do to make it. So where it's going to be, are we going to make it on the production line? Is it going to be an assembly center? Is it certain employees? Anything specific that has to be used to get this put together, we will set up in the routing. So what are you going to do specifically in these purchasing exercises? You're going to have master data. You're going to extend your materials. So you've already created a wood kit, and then you've created the basic data, accounting information, and purchasing information. But now what you need to do is you need to add the information that we're going to need to put it into production. So one of the things that I want you to look at, because this is one of the things that's going to mess people up, is on exercise 1, step 3. Put a circle around that. Put a star by it. Highlight it. What it says is enter your wood kit that was created in materials management. If you don't enter your wood kit and you just keep going, basically then what you're going to do is you're going to have so what you have so far is you have a wood kit with basic data, accounting, and purchasing, or costing, or whatever they called it. So you already have this. Now what we need to do is we need to add MRP views so we can use it in production. If you don't enter your name and you just hit create, what you're going to do is now you're going to have a wood kit over here that just has MRP information, not here. So now we have two wood kits, but then you can't combine them. That's not how it works. You have to extend this wood kit, adding additional views. So pay attention to that step 3. When it says to enter your wood kit name, enter your wood kit. What you'll do, if it makes you enter something that it's not telling you, like standard, like each, remember you had to enter each in your basic data. If it's asking you for something like that you think you've already entered, look up. If it has wood kit 087, then you're probably in good shape. But if it says 12 or 30, it means you didn't enter your name in, and now it's creating a whole new material for just MRP. So back out, don't save, and go again. Does that make sense? All right, so you're going to extend your material masters with the MRP view so you can use it in production. Then you're going to create a bill of materials and a routing for your rocker. You have to be very careful here. If you mess this stuff up, all your costing is going to be wrong. So you just need to pay attention to detail. Attention to detail. All right, then you're going to have your production transaction. So you're going to run the MRP, meaning you're going to tell it to look through and make sure we have all the materials we need and all the room we need. You're going to get an error message that says, are you sure you can get this done? Because due to the amount of time that it takes to make a rocking chair, each of us are making 300, and there's 100 of us trying to make 300 rocking chairs in the exact same period of time, and it's going to wonder if that's legit. So you're just going to say, yes, it is, and power through. All right? So, but it is going to ask you, are you sure you can meet this scheduling demand? Then you're going to convert the planned order to a production order. So this is where you'd have an extra layer of authorization to make sure that you actually need those goods made. Then you're going to issue your raw materials and your trading goods onto the production floor. Then you're going to confirm production was complete. And then you're going to issue your finished goods to inventory. And then you're going to settle up the cost that will then move direct labor and overhead into production costs. Because we use a standard costing method, no matter what it costs you to make it, you're going to end up putting in whatever you set the standard price was for standard cost for rockers was, which I don't remember what it is. But it's $42,000 for 300 rockers. So I can't do that math in my head for what we decided that the standard cost was. But that's what it should be. $42,000 should be issued into finished goods. All right, so assertions. We still need to be thinking about those as you're going through. So completeness, all the inventory costs have been recorded. So if we have materials, if we've used labor, if we have overhead, we're getting it into the cost. Occurrence, all the inventory that we have on our books actually exists. Authorization, that we have the appropriate personnel saying, yeah, it's okay to go ahead and make this. Because what will happen sometimes is you'll have production managers making an excess of goods to lower the cost of goods sold, which will then increase. So say you have $1,000 of materials of overhead. Let's say we have $1,000 of manufacturing overhead. What if we only make 100 items? How much is our manufacturing overhead each? $10, right? But what if we make 10,000 items? How much would our manufacturing overhead be each? So if I'm then going to get a raise based on profitability, which one are where my production costs seem lower? It's this one, right? Makes it seem like my production costs are lower if you're just looking at overhead. So we want to make sure that we're only producing what we actually need. Cutoff, making sure we have everything in the correct period. Classification, that we're appropriately capitalizing things we should. Direct labor, overhead, that is all getting into that inventory cost. And then accuracy, that we're doing the math correctly. But not only do we have, these are all related to the transaction of producing inventory. But we also have some assertions related to balances that we need to think about. Valuation, LIFO, FIFO. We have spoilage that we're writing that down, lower of cost of market, right? So we need to be considering that. And then rights and obligations, that the inventory belongs to the company. So this is going to be where we're paying attention to bills of lading, what are the shipping terms, both inventory coming in and going out, right? So attention to detail, pay attention. Print the exercises. You guys are still not, and the ones who are not printing are the ones that are asking me the most questions, because it's easy to skip when you're just trying to flip back and forth on your screen. When you have it in front of you, you can check it off. So print your exercises, fill them out, check your screenshots, only use your stuff. So if it doesn't have your number in it, it might be wrong. So pay attention to that. And come to class if you're not done, and let me help you to make sure we get that number up to 20 out of 20. All right? So for Tuesday, if you want your DPQ point for completion that I will check in the system, there is nothing for you to submit. I will grab it myself. You have to be through PP06. And then all the production exercises are due Wednesday at midnight, following the guide that's on Canvas, and your screenshots will be dictated within the exercises. All right, so online and on campus, Wednesday at midnight. Everybody good? All right, so now we can work. So if you need to go to the lab, go ahead and go to the lab, but I'm gonna come to the lab. If you skip and don't go to the lab, don't email me this weekend. Don't do it. You just have to figure it out yourself. So you're either working in here for the next 30 minutes or you're down in the lab for the next 30 minutes. Your call. That's okay.
I had a meeting with my advisor and it ran a little late.
Okay.
But I was just curious about, I was reading through this and wondering, are you going to test us on the actual input processes of how to use this, or just the process of doing it?
Yeah, so like I won't test you on what is like step 6, like on this, but I'm going to ask you conceptually, why would you have done that?
Okay.
Or, you know.
Why would you have created a master material file and stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's no reason to like memorize this, or this is just how to do it.
Would you recommend going through, instead of reading through this, reading through the actual chapter?
I would read through the actual chapter, and then as you're doing it, read these sentences to see what you're doing, so that you know exactly what am I doing right now.
Okay.
And so that'll help, because what happens if you start down here, something might not make sense unless you know what it is that you're going to be doing. So I would definitely read those blurbs.
So, yeah, that's why I was curious, because I was like, if I don't know how to do this, then there's no way I'm going to know how to do that.
Right.
She could ask that.
I'm not going to ask that.
Okay, thanks.
Have a good weekend.
Hi, Jordan. What? Oh, yeah. I don't know what the room number is, but if you go through these double doors, so go through those double doors, down there, take a left, and it's basically going to be your first door on the right. Yep, they're here for you. Professional fees, pay for them. So use them. Can you? They probably don't want everyone to know that, but. Apparently, word on the street is you can print for free in the OPCD. But I would wonder if that's true. I would check your billing statement. Because sometimes some of the places that it's seemingly free, it's less free than you thought. Out of your debit card? I thought it would just go like on your bursar bill. Pre-money. Okay, well, it makes more sense now when I'm saying just go print it. That it's like, well, I don't have even $1 on me right now. So. That's right. Then you go into the office and say, could someone come load the printers with paper? Yeah. But they're not there at night. They're not there. What about the library? Are there printers at the library? Is it worse? You still have to pay for those? Oh, and you have to walk. But if you go at night, won't that security shuttle drive you over there? Okay. Man, your lives are tough. You know, there was no shuttle when I was a student here. You don't think people were as bad? I don't think they were as mean. I think that could be true. Everybody was very nice. And most people are still very nice. Yes, you may answer the phone. All right, let me get him and then I'll come back. Yes, sir.
It just says look up and select this. I'm assuming
So
it's
look
under-
up yours.
I'm assuming it's under the material section because it doesn't tell me what section to look it up under.
Yep, so material. You're looking up your material. So remember, if you don't know the exact name,
Oh, I'm just gonna stop.
there you go. Look at that.
I just want to know
Love
make sure
it.
where it was at
That's it.
and verify that it's wood fit. I just didn't know where to find it. Just look it up.
You got it. Let me get her, and then I'll come back to you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I figured it out.
Okay. Wait, did you have to type a name?
No, I just had to click like the enter button to go down to lot size.
Oh, okay.
I'm just on this right now.
Okay, okay, you're good. All right.
I might just be kind of a minute. Is this so, like, where's the lot history?
It says if it's asking you, put in your materials plan. But if it's not, then your default held. If it's not asking, it'll pop up. You'll know for sure.
Oh, okay.
If it's asking, you'll know.
I know there was like a box and I was missing a box.
So sometimes depending on if we didn't set our defaults appropriately, it's going to pop up and ask you. But that exercise 1, if you set your default correctly, it won't ever ask you that.
Okay, so then I don't have to press the enter?
No, you're still going to press enter.
Oh, okay.
So now you're going to be ready to enter your stuff. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am. Oh my goodness gracious. I need a big magnifying glass.
It won't let me like when I click.
All right, so let's go out. Let's make sure that it's not blue. No? All right, so let's try again. So lot size, and what is it we want to enter?
Lot order.
Okay. So just double click. Okay, so we know it's EX. So let's just type, let's try to type. I don't know why it's doing that though. still not like, okay, so it might be discolored and we just can't tell. Hit your back button. Yeah, it was grayed out, but because your monitor, the way it is, it was like this light blue. And when things are light blue, it won't let you enter. So just hit back so that you can, and now you should be able to do this. Just do your search. So whenever that happens, just kind of look. It's hard, I can't see it very well, but you see how it's slightly different. These over here.
Yeah.
Because they're not available for you to use. So if you hit enter maybe one time too soon, or sometimes it's easy to when you're touching this that it takes it as an enter. Just go back and it'll open everything else up.
That's actually 001, right?
001, not your number. It's meaning one. It's a. You'll see it when it pops up. It means like one day. Yes.
I didn't have the work scheduling.
Okay. So now you're gonna create this again,
Okay.
but you're not gonna do MRP 1, 2, and 3. You're
Okay.
just gonna do work scheduling.
Okay.
So when you create your views, deselect these,
Okay. And then just do that.
and then just do work scheduling because you've already created the other ones, so it won't let you create it now.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go check to see if your friends went to the lab. And then I'll be back in a minute. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Should be fine. Yep. Yes, sir. Look to see if it's grayed out, if the box is grayed out. Okay, so if it is, then you might have hit enter once too quick. So now hit your green double back. The green circle that has the double. Okay. Did you get it? Did you talk to them?
Yes.
And what'd they say?
Downloaded this.
Okay.
This doesn't have the what I need up top.
Okay.
So.
So there's a. Oh wait. What? Go to that. You need the. Which Java do you have?
I had 10. They just downloaded 8.
What was the Java you guys needed for these for the Apple?
I think that's the one I downloaded.
Yeah, this is the one you want up here. Yep, that's the one we
That's
want.
the one. So I
Yeah.
did that.
Yep, but you've loaded it,
Yeah, everything's loaded. And
so
this
you've
is-
run it.
This is what should come up.
So you ran this.
Yes. Yes, I just did that. and I
Okay,
just
let's do it again, just to be sure.
I like computers, but this is not making on my computer.
Okay. All right, so what does it say to do next on the installation instructions?
All right, click on that.
Okay. So now open the SAP, right?
Mm-hmm. That was right here, but I think we deleted it. So,
Oh, you have a lot.
yeah, I had to print this out. I have
Just do this latest one. It's going. All right.
just click install.
Oh yeah, because there's that green box.
Yeah,
That's what we like. All right, we're good.
I've gotten here.
All right. All right. So now it's installed. So now you need to go to open it, to actually open the SAP. Let's look at the installation thing again.
I'm finding out the applications.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. But which one does it want you to do?
SAPGU 7. Should be a picture of that thing.
Okay. It's probably alphabetical order. There it is.
I did this,
All right.
and it's this.
And then what's it supposed to say?
Just say you.
I'm gonna have to, I can't look at it that tiny. Let me look at it.
Just say UW.
I don't know that you can, it will automatically say that though. Because you're gonna have to direct it to, because this is the SAP that anybody in the world would download. It won't always go to Milwaukee. I'm gonna open it up so it's big, so I can read it. It's downloaded. Now it's just you've got to get it so it's hooked up to the server. Yes, sir. Yeah, so you in perpetuity. That's what we're doing there. So from whatever day it said to start to $31.99.99. Let's see. Oop. So this is Apple, right? Okay. We just gotta slow down. Slow is smooth. Smooth as fast. We'll get it done faster. All right. I don't want to sign it. I do not have an Adobe ID. It's not letting me look at an Adobe file. All right, you just have to make it bigger so I can read it too. You got it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem is going from 10 to 8. That's what I should go through those issues.
Okay, yeah, but just make sure you're looking one step at a time so you can connect to that server. And then go back and do that. Yeah. I sent you an email telling you exactly what to do as well. Yes, ma'am.
So for this one, I keep in and out. I'm putting in the setup time,
Yep.
and then I put enter, but it's like making me come back here. But
Okay, so what that means is that you didn't set up labor, so that means there's something wrong in your original setup exercises. So you're gonna have to back out of this.
okay,
Yeah. And where do you have your exercises with you for the setup? Okay, let's look at that. All right. So
was that on page 4? I don't think I ever got back to doing that.
yeah, we got to do this.
Okay, yeah, I could not.
Yes, we can't just skip stuff and then never go back to it. I'll help you with whatever's messing you up. It's this right here that's messing you up. So you'll put yours, which is C, whatever your number is. All right. That you're just going to have to type. Okay, your problem probably was because you were trying to enter in cost center, but you need to be entering in group, which is down here.
So right here.
Yep, so now search because you don't know what it is. It's not, you don't know any of that, so just hit the green check mark. And then pick the one that says manufacturing group. All right, and then go to activity type. And again, we don't know, so just hit the green check. And there it is. And then make sure you have to still do this part too. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Routing.
Yep.
So I typed in that stuff and then was that anything to enter
Yes.
in order to get to this other stuff?
Yep.
Okay, so you just have to do it in that.
Yes. Yeah, so you have to go
Just those
across.
four
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, you're not going to go down. You're going to go this way. You need help? Okay, I'll be right. I'll follow you in just a second.
Actually, it's okay.
Okay.
It was turning red, but now it's okay.
Okay.
This little paragraph, none of that really popped up here. Saying like that Operation 20 refers to an additional procedure.
Well, it'll pop up when you tell it to pop it up. So, here, I'm going to read it to you, and so then you do it. All right, so you clicked on the component allocation button. So you've done that part for the wood kit?
Yes, I've gotten all the way to the inner right below that little paragraph.
Okay, so then it's just saying, it's not saying anything's going to pop up. It's basically saying, remember, you have 3 steps,
Okay, so
but you only have 2 products. So you're not going to have anything that you allocate to step 20 because you're still working on the wood kit. So you're going to add the cushion to step 30. That's all it's telling you there. All right, let me go help him, and then I'll come back. If I don't make it back before you get to a good stopping point, you guys have a good weekend, and I will see you on Tuesday if you're not done, friends. Yes, sir.
So, I accidentally skipped the line twice on accident. How do I get back?
You selected, what did you do?
So, I was on the PPO4 where we were putting in the wood kits and maps.
Yep.
Whenever I was clicking off of the wood kit, I accidentally double clicked the next line and
Okay.
pulled up the.
Try to just go back, like use the green 2 arrows.
Right, it's showing as it can't be selected.
You guys don't ask me anything. And then as soon as I have to go, you guys have some interesting things. Just pass your machine down. Oh no. Okay, yeah. So then we're gonna have to go all the way back.
Okay, so y'all went back and just have to redo it.
Yep. Nope. There we go. Got it?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what-
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you're not gonna tell your dad that I broke your computer.